And let's get straight into my scariest experience ever. I really hope this experience never happens to you guys ever in your lifetime. This story single-handedly made me terrified of ever taking off or landing on a plane. The reason why I was getting on this plane in the first place is because my parents are divorced, so I live with my stepdad and my mom. So I had to go visit my dad because I visit him every once in a while just to see how him and his family are doing. During the time of this story in 2010, I was living in Louisiana and my dad was living in Maryland. So obviously I had to take a plane because my parents didn't feel like driving me all the way to Maryland and going back, then going there and going back. And I couldn't drive, and still to this day, I cannot drive. Since I was 10 at the time during this story, I could not go on a plane by myself, so I had to get one of those babysitter people. I had this tall black lady following me around the entire time I was waiting to get on my flight, and she sat next to me on the flight. It was just really embarrassing, and I hated it so much. It was really awkward too, because she wouldn't start a conversation with me. I had to start one with her, and I wouldn't start a conversation because I was really awkward at the time, and I had anxiety, and I couldn't really talk to new people. She was just really bad at her job. Luckily, I got a straight through flight from Louisiana to Maryland, so I didn't have to stop off at some random airport and wait there another like 4 hours. Unfortunately, right when we get on the plane, it starts thundering, and the pilot comes on and he says, "Sorry to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, but we will be sitting here another good 30 minutes waiting for confirmation from the tower to take off along with other flights. I want to thank you for your patience and thank you for flying with Delta. Delta sucks." Obviously, he didn't say that last part, but you know what I mean. We're sitting there for a good 45 minutes waiting over the time he said, and he comes back on the intercom and he says, "Well, I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but we've been sitting here for over 30 minutes waiting for confirmation from the tower to take off. Every single time it thunders, we have to wait about another 15 minutes. They're setting up a 5-mile radius around us, making sure that thunder is clear for us to take off. We have not got anything from them yet. We will keep you updated every single time we get a contact from the tower. I want to thank you for flying with Delta, and thank you for your patience." An hour goes by. We are still waiting, and at this point, I'm ready to get off and go home and wait for the next day to catch another flight, until the pilot comes back on, and he says, "We have been waiting for over an hour now to get confirmation from the tower to take off. We have got nothing. They are keeping us waiting. We have not gotten contact from them in over 30 minutes, so we're going to go anyways." From the quote, "We're gonna go anyways." I'm pretty sure everybody on the flight was completely terrified, considering it was still thundering outside, and if we got hit by it while we were in the air, we would go straight down, no doubt about it. It would not be good. Let's say that. It would not be good at all. And you may be asking, well, why didn't you just get off the flight? Well, they had closed the gate, and I'm pretty sure all of us had some trust and faith in him, considering he was a pilot, and he probably knows what he's doing. So I figured out on the side of the seat, considering it was a long flight, they had this radio kind of thing set up where you could go through channels and turn on the volume and stuff. So I'm going through the channels and I'm listening to everything they have, and all of a sudden I hear a tower talking back to the pilot, and I didn't know that it was actually our flight until he goes, "Delta 17, you have been given no permission to take off from this runway at all. Evacuate now, stop the flight." And there is nothing from the other side. You cannot hear the pilot say anything. He was basically ignoring the tower. So we take off, and from the beginning, we are hitting mad turbulence. The turbulence was so bad. As soon as we got up into the air, maybe 100, 200 feet off the ground, we were hitting turbulence. We weren't even like barely off the runway, and our plane was already shaking. And the pilot comes on about 5 minutes later and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for your patience. Thank you for flying with Delta. We will be hitting some minor turbulence here and there," which is a complete lie. We had to go through some procedures to get off the ground. We want to thank you for the patience. We will be reaching Maryland shortly. And you know, the pilot, he sounded pretty confident that we would be fine. And I trusted that because, you know, he's putting his life in danger too if he were to get off the runway and not expect to make it to where we're supposed to go. With that in mind, I sat back and I relaxed, waiting for us to reach Maryland. The pilot finally comes back on, telling us we will be there in about 15-20 minutes, reaching the Maryland airport. The entire time we were on the flight, I did not hear any thunder or lightning, and all of a sudden, we start hearing and seeing it everywhere. You could look out of the window and see it right next to us, and then we start dropping in altitude, so much that the oxygen masks come out of the top, and as soon as I saw that, I knew that we were about to get screwed up. We continue dropping, but fast enough that we make it to the Maryland airport, shorter than we were supposed to make it. We are going down to the runway so fast, we basically hit the runway sideways, and we're sliding and skidding across it, going in a circular motion. It was just so terrifying. I was looking out the window the entire time, and I had the oxygen mask on. I was breathing so fast. It was just the most terrifying experience of my life. As soon as we stop, the pilot gets back on the mic intercom thing he has, and you can hear him. He goes, "Welcome to the Maryland airport. Enjoy your stay, and you should probably call your loved ones at this time." And it was so crazy. Everybody was crying and calling their loved ones. They were just, "Honey, I almost died." I was like terrified but laughing at the same time. I don't know. So I really hope you guys enjoy this story, and I really hope this never happens to you guys ever in your lifetime. Later, guys.